Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Friday edition of the Mark Mosey Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Yes, take back control of your life today. Call them 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Now, this gentleman, he's been busy breaking down, did Trevor Lawrence actually cut his hair last night? He is great investigative journalist, Mr. 321, Tim Walters, Florida Today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm sad I have to bother real reporters trying to answer that question, Mark. That's what I am. And the Jaguars will neither confirm nor deny that Trevor Lawrence got what I heard described as Ellen DeGeneres' haircut.
This is right out of the Bible. You cut his hair, is he going to lose his powers after a while? Because wasn't there like a report 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that he cut his hair? This isn't the first time, right?
No, and if he really did cut his hair, the most disappointing thing is they're just sweeping it up at the end of the video. You take little bits of those locks, you put them in little glass jars, with the little the corks that you pop in the top of them. You sell them for $100 a pop, and you raise money for his charity. Because there's enough people out there that would want some of his Goldilocks in a little bottle. A little bottle that says Jaguars or Trevor Lawrence or has his face on it. But that could be the real missed opportunity, is to profit, or his charity profit, off of those golden hairs if they really fell to the floor.
Okay, so at this hour, this is very key here on a Friday, May 15th, Tim is actually calling actual sources and reporters. At this hour, we cannot confirm or deny that Trevor Lawrence actually cut his hair.
No, and in fact, my columnist at the Times-Union, Ryan O'Halloran, God bless him, he really is trying to find this out for real, because it's trending on the internet. And this is what people are in disbelief about it. Was it AI? Were they cutting a wig? What on earth was this? And I got to tell you, I have no idea.
And didn't the Jaguars also, the headline to the tweet was, AI can't do this? I swear that's what it said. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That goes to my bigger rant that I want to go over with you real quick, if you could bear with me. I feel like we have jumped the shark when it comes to the schedule release videos on social media. I don't care. I know everyone wants to be unique and make jokes. I get it. Tell me the actual schedule. So what I do is I don't even follow people on social last night. I actually go to the official team website so I could see what the actual I want to know what the schedule is. No, here's a joke. Like the Chargers, what they do? They did Halo from Xbox, and Indy, they actually had The Simpsons, like a full video. The Buccaneers had Baywatch. I'm like, just tell me the bleeping schedule. I don't care anymore. I think it's Fonzie style. Happy Days. I think it's Jump the Shark. I don't need any more parody videos. How about you, Tim?
A 50-year-old reference. Haven't we come up with something better for Jump the Shark? But no, we haven't. The videos, this is what bothers me, Mark. And I mentioned a minute ago that all people are talking about is Trevor Lawrence's hair instead of the Jaguar schedule. We care about the schedules. People care about periphery stuff. And let me give you an example of this. This is the battle I fight as a journalist, somebody who has to try and do my job with great integrity while also looking at the metrics of online. We can put a story online that just says how to watch the Jaguars at the Panthers.
Yeah.
And it'll get 45,000 page views. And then the Jaguars will play the Panthers, and we'll write columns, and we'll have stories and takeaways, and they'll do 4,500 page views. It's like people, they want to know when the game is, and then they're done. So people want the schedule, they want to know it, then it's released, and it's like, okay, so you got to do something else to capture their attention. That's what we've become as a society.
Here's what you should do. My advice to you as a fellow journalist, just start posting your cats. Just do that. Just have your cat. I know you have 2 black cats. Post them on there and then have a headline. Here's articles of what's going on with the team. Cats get clicks. That's my word of advice. Because my orange cat, same thing.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? You might have seen my Facebook reel recently where my little girl cat sees a squirrel and it jumps onto the window outside and it's clinging to the screen porch. So you're seeing the business end of a squirrel in a window, and my little girl cat's sitting there pawing at the window. So I just posted like a 20-second clip of that. And then Facebook is, your reel has 200 views. Your reel has 500 views. Your reel has 1,000 views. Do you want to monetize it? It's like, all I did was post my cat pawing at a squirrel clinging to a screen. But man, people like that much more than they like, who wants to read about the Strait of Hormuz? I want a little black cat pawing at a squirrel.
That's right. Rawr, for the Jaguars. That's exactly what it is. All right. Since we got that out of the way, and again, we don't know the answer to Trevor Lawrence there. I noticed, by the way, I cut my hair short. No headlines. I'm not as cool as Trevor Lawrence because, again, he's had it down to here since when? High school? It's been pretty shocking. All right. Are you ready to play the game with me on a Friday? Are you ready? Here is the game, in case you don't know. We're going to go wins, losses with the schedule. Tim is going to be the first man this summer or spring. I don't know what it is with the weather right now, but everyone gets to play the game over the next couple weeks. I'm going to write this down on a piece of paper. Chicken scratch. We're going to go wins, losses with the Jaguars. And by the way, they did overachieve last year, winning the division, double-digit wins. Let's go to the schedule. They open 9-13 at home against the Cleveland Browns. Is that a win or a loss?
Yes, if they win, they don't deserve to be a franchise anymore.
Oh, if they lose or if they win?
They don't win. If they can't beat Cleveland at home to start the season, then the Jaguars should just be disbanded.
Okay, a game I believe they won last year at the Broncos, week 2. Is that a win or a loss?
I think that's going to be a loss. Last year, they went into Denver. I'm not quite sure why they have to go into Denver 2 years in a row, once late last season and once early this season. But that's a hard place to win in twice. Denver, Bo Nix is going to be back, and you expect the Broncos to be pretty good again this year. So I think I'm going to go with a loss against the Broncos.
Okay, then week 3, they're back at home, New England, 1:00 with the kick. Win or loss?
I think they're going to beat the Patriots. When they played them a couple of years ago in London, they absolutely stymied them. I know that they're a little bit better. I think the Patriots, though, are going to take a step back this year. But I like the Jaguars at home against the Patriots.
All right. You complain about this matchup every single year because the backup quarterback keeps beating the Jaguars. Hopefully it's Joe Burrow this time. I know it's a crazy thing to say out loud. At the Bengals. This is another 1:00. By the way, I love all the 1:00 kicks. I think it's fantastic. Win or loss at Cincinnati?
If Jake Browning is in there, it's a certain loss. But I think they're going to lose this one anyhow. I think Joe Burrow is actually going to ball out this year. I think he's going to be an MVP candidate, if not the MVP. I think he's going to play at a really high level. I think the Bengals have improved. So I think that the Bengals are going to win that one. And look, this is the toughest part of the Jaguars schedule going up until the bye week. So, the next 2 being in London that we're about to go through.
You are absolutely right. The first one, week 5 against the Eagles. NFL Network, 9:30 with the kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Is that a win or a loss, buddy?
I'm going to go a win, mainly because the Jaguars generally do pretty well in the back-to-back games. This is going to be their 3rd time. Both other times they won their first game of the back-to-backs in London. I just think that they know how to travel a little bit better. They have a better routine. I think that there's a certain type of fatigue and things that teams who don't do this every year, as the Jaguars have now, for 14 total games they played in London. So I think that just gives them, both are pretty good teams, similar level, if you ask me, if you were going to compare them. So I think I'm going to give the edge actually to the Jaguars.
Okay, then the second one in London, Texans at home. This game is on October 18th, win or loss?
Yeah, I think that the Jaguars will actually lose this one because, as we'll find later, I think they're going to win later in the season. But I think they're going to lose, again, heading into the bye week. And so you're going to be looking at that point at a 3-3 record. and people are going to be saying, oh, has Liam Cohen lost his magic, or, are the Jaguars returning to being the Jaguars? But as you're going to see, the schedule gets very favorable after the bye week. So if they can hit that at 3-3, I actually think they should be very happy.
All right, bye week. Then, as you said, week 8, you're back at home against the Colts. By the way, I like 9:30, back-to-back weeks, then back to the 1 o'clock schedule. Colts at home. Is that a win or loss?
Yeah, I'm going with a win there. I just don't think the Colts are going to be all that great this season. I think that last year they found that the recipe was just bottle up Jonathan Taylor, and you can beat what started out as a hot team, Daniel Jones. It's a shame he got hurt, but they ended up being very mediocre, and who knows what Jones is going to be, or Riley Leonard, or whatever they're going to do a quarterback there. I go Jaguars there.
All right, this is going to be interesting. At the Ravens, Thursday night football. Huge matchup in the AFC. Is this a win or a loss?
I think this is going to be a loss. That short week, the Ravens at home. I just kind of always give the advantage to the home team on a Thursday night, especially when you're looking at, the factors of when, playing a home game and then having to travel to Baltimore like 2 or 3 days later. And I always favor a home team in a game like that when they're of a similar skill set. So I'm going to give that one to Baltimore.
All right, then week 10 at the Titans, 1 o'clock with the kick. Win or loss, Tim Walters?
Yeah, I'll just save you some time here. This is a 3-game winning streak. They're going to win at Tennessee. They're going to win at the Giants. And then Tennessee is going to come to Jacksonville, and the Jaguars will win that. So I go 3 wins in a row at Tennessee, at New York, and versus Tennessee.
Okay, then. Then we'll go to week 13 at my Bears. What are your thoughts? Win or loss?
Mark, I was going to get your thoughts on this game. So let me see what you think before I give you my prediction.
The game it's in December 6th. Bears are winning this game. I'm sorry. The Bears are winning. Okay, I'm sorry I have to tell you that, buddy. And the Jaguar Nation, Bears are winning. Who do you think's going to win?
I'm there with you, Mark. This was one of the losses that I have on my schedule. The Jaguars seem to win a lot late in the season, but I think that cold Chicago, it's going to be probably miserable there. You know better than me. Does it snow in December in Chicago? It probably does. So I give the edge to the home team there. I think the Bears are going to be pretty good again this year.
Okay, then maybe one of the biggest games, and it depends what happens to the Steelers, but still, Monday Night Football against Pittsburgh, win or loss?
Yeah, this one, I think this is going to be a win. It's still, a new head coach in McCarthy. I think that's a downgrade from Mike Tomlin, quite honestly. If it's Aaron Rodgers, which I guess it's going to be, then, he's a year older. What is he, 43 now? I think, and he's not aging like Tom Brady did. So I think on a grand stage, I think this is a big game that the Jaguars need, and I think they're going to get it.
All right, you're at the Texans, win or loss?
Yeah, this is one where I'm going to give them the win. They seem to play pretty well at Houston. I think that the Jaguars are a good late season team. I think they're going to be clicking at this point. CJ Stroud, if he can make it there, because he gets knocked down a lot. Heck, Davis Mills has been a really good backup for them. But I think that the Jaguars will I think they're going to split with Houston, lose in London, win at Houston.
At the Cowboys.
At the Cowboys. They're going to beat the Cowboys. I talk about an overrated team. They've had 2 consecutive losing seasons. Brian Schottenheimer, kind of a very average coach. Dak Prescott, another year older. I think that the Jaguars are better than the Cowboys right now, and they're going to show it this game.
Commanders at home, to be announced with the time, week 17, win or loss?
Yeah, I think they're going to win this game. Jaden Daniels, will he has come in for his 3rd year? What type of recovery will he have had? How good will this team be? But look at the roster makeup of the Commanders. It's not a team where you look at them and say, wow, this is an overwhelming team, or they've made great moves. You're just hoping Jaden Daniels can catch his rookie season magic. And who knows if he'll even be there by then. You don't want to see a guy get hurt, but when you rely on your feet the way you do, we've seen so many others, including one time in the same city, Robert Griffin, you just never know. So I'm going to give that one to the Jaguars.
Okay, before we get to the last game, I just want to say this. You end at a dome. You're at home against Washington, at Cowboys, at Texans. Steelers at home. The Bears game, in theory, is your last cold game. Now, I know, look, Dallas, you get cold, all that stuff, but like, you're not going to the frozen tundra in December. It's pretty good if you think about weather-wise to finish the season for the Jaguars. So I will end at Indianapolis, win or loss.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I think that the Jaguars, they could certainly have a letdown game. I had them at 11-6, and right now we've only gotten 5 losses. So I almost want to hang them with a loss there. But it's going to come down to where are the Texans at this time. The Jaguars always, like I said, seem to win a lot of games at the end of the season. So you know what, Mark? I've talked myself into it. They're going to win. They're going to go 12-5 instead of 11-6. They're going to end the season on a 5-game winning streak. Last year, they ended the season on, 8 or 9 game winning streak. And then if you go back, not the prior year that made Doug Peterson lose his job, but the year before that, I believe they were 8-9 down the stretch. They just play good down the stretch. So I expect that again this year.
All right. I am going to do this officially. I know he just went on his rant there. All right. Here's all my losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So you're going 12-5. Does that win the division?
I think it does. I think that they're going to win the division again. It might come down to a tiebreaker, but I think Houston, they're in a 10 or 11 wins team. Look at their schedule. It's pretty tough too. So I think I'm going to give the advantage to the Jaguars. If they, like I said, if they survive that first 6 weeks, even going 3-3, I think that this team is going to win the AFC South again because of how favorable that schedule is.
But that's not good enough. They have to make a deep playoff run. Are you buying or selling that? They have to make the deep playoff run.
Yeah, I think you have to at least, if you don't get a bye week for the wild card round, which I don't think they're going to be a number 1 seed. So I think they need to at least win the wild card week and the second week. I think Trevor Lawrence needs to get this team further than he's ever gotten them in the playoffs. So to me, you've got to get past the wild card and the divisional round. You got to take that step forward. I think Liam Cohen is good enough to. I think you're going to see a different Jaguars team than even you saw last year because I think they're going to be using 2 and 3 tight end sets. They're going to be stealing some things from the Rams, which is why they drafted Borkercher. They've got 2 really good tight ends right now. They've got a big, wide open running back room. And, Travis Hunter, I think you're going to see more on defense than offense early on, at least, because I think you're really stacked at wide receiver. They really only had to replace 2, maybe 3 starters overall out of their 22 players, offense and defense. So I think that they have a big advantage this year.
That is his official pick. 12-5, deep playoff run, but we don't know if Trevor Lawrence actually cut his hair or not. That is dynamite here on a Friday. Tim Walters, I know you're a busy, man. Thank you for coming on. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. All right, buddy?
All right. Sounds good, Mark. Thank you. And I love it when a plan comes together.